In a small neighborhood in Cebu, where narrow streets wind past colorful homes, and the sound of tricycles fills the air, lived a boy who never imagined the world would hear his voice. He didn't grow up with fancy equipment, a music studio, or professional training. He grew up with simplicity, a small home, a hard-working mother, and a voice that didn't seem to match his surroundings. His neighbors called him the Elvis Kid, not because he tried to look like Elvis, but because when he sang, something in his voice carried the same warmth. Depth and soul the king of rock and roll was known for. He discovered that voice almost by accident. One night during a brownout, his family sat together waiting for the electricity to return. Someone played an old video on a phone. Elvis singing Can't Help Falling in Love. The boy didn't understand why, but something in that moment pulled him in. He wasn't just listening to a song. He was listening to a feeling, to a story someone was telling through their voice. That night, he stayed awake long after everyone else had fallen asleep, replaying the song quietly under his blanket, trying to match the timing, the breath, the tone. The next morning, he tried singing it again. His mother stopped cooking just to listen. She didn't say a word at first. She only stared at him surprised and emotional. It wasn't perfect. He was just a kid. But there was something there, something real, something rare from that day on. Singing became his habit, then his hobby, and eventually a piece of who he was. He sang during chores walks and slow afternoons when the whole neighborhood felt sleepy and quiet. He didn't sing loudly. He didn't seek attention. But people heard him anyway. Neighbors passing by would pause. Children would whisper. Adults would smile. Everyone agreed. This boy's voice didn't sound like a child copying a singer. It sounded like someone who understood the music. Even with all that talent, the boy never thought big. His family didn't have money for big dreams. They were focused on daily life bills. School food work, singing was something he loved, not something he imagined turning into anything more. That changed one morning, when his mother received a message from a cousin in Manila. AGT was accepting online auditions. Anyone, even kids from the provinces, could send a video. The mother read the message twice before calling him over. When she told him, he froze. America's Got Talent. The same show he watched on YouTube late at night. The same stage where people with massive talent made the world stop and listen. He wasn't sure how to feel. Part of him wanted to laugh at the idea. Who was he compared to international singers? But another part, a quiet, stubborn part whispered that maybe, just maybe he should try. He didn't own a good microphone or professional camera. His audition video was recorded on his mother's old phone, propped up on stacked books in front of a plain beige wall. The lighting wasn't perfect. The audio wasn't sharp. But when he opened his mouth to sing Can't Help Falling in Love, none of that mattered. His mother cried softly behind the camera. She wasn't emotional because he hit the notes. She was emotional because she felt his heart in every word. They sent the video without expecting anything. Weeks passed. Life continued normally: chores, school, singing. Nothing felt different until one evening, when his mother screamed his name from the other room. For a moment, he thought something was wrong. But then he saw her holding her phone, shaking, crying, laughing all at once. AGT replied, she said, "They want you to audition in person." He didn't move or speak. His entire body went numb as the reality sank in. This wasn't a dream anymore. Someone on the other side of the world watched his video and decided he deserved a chance. The next few weeks became a whirlwind. His family scrambled for documents, tickets, clothes. Relatives pitched in, neighbors held small fundraisers. People who barely had enough for themselves still gave a few pesos. Some food, anything they could spare. They didn't help him because he was a superstar. They helped him because he was their boy, their pride, their talent, their hope when they finally arrived in America. Everything felt unreal: the streets, the buildings, the cool breeze. It felt like stepping into a movie. But nothing felt as surreal as walking into the AGT building, where hundreds of talents lined up practicing, stretching, rehearsing. He looked around and wondered how a small boy from Cebu ended up among them. Backstage, he was quiet, not nervous, just overwhelmed. He held the microphone with both hands and whispered a short prayer. His mother placed her hand on his shoulder and told him that, no matter what happened, she was already proud. When they called his name, his heartbeat slowed, not sped up. Slowed like his body understood something. This was his moment as he stepped onto the AGT stage. The lights blinded him for a second. The audience was massive. The judges' table sat far in front of him. And sitting right in the center, Simon Cowell looking straight at him. Simon raised an eyebrow. The boy swallowed hard. "What's your name?" Simon asked. The boy answered politely, softly. His voice trembled, but not with fear. With emotion? And what are you going to sing for us today? Simon continued. He took a breath. An Elvis song, he said. The audience murmured, some smiled. Some looked curious. Simon leaned back, slightly surprised. Elvis, okay. Whenever you're ready, the music began. Before he even sang the first line, something shifted in the room. He closed his eyes, let the air settle in his chest, and allowed the years of practice, the mornings, the nights, the quiet corners of Cebu to guide him. Then he began. His voice didn't sound like a boy's voice. It carried depth, maturity, and soulfulness that caught everyone off guard. The audience leaned in. The judges sat up straighter. Even Simon's expression softened. The kind of look he gives only when something genuinely surprises him. As he continued, the room fell silent. His tone was warm but controlled. His vibrato was clean, steady, gentle. His emotion wasn't forced. It flowed naturally, like he wasn't performing for a crowd. He was singing for someone he loved. Halfway through the song, the audience began reacting. People looked around at each other as if asking, "Are we hearing this right?" Some placed their hands on their chest, some whispered, "Wow." Simon leaned forward, elbows on the table, eyes locked on the boy, and then came the final note, the one that would change everything. He held it with confidence, with heart, with a calmness that didn't belong to someone his age. When he finished, the entire room erupted cheers. Applause people stood clapping above their heads. But the loudest reaction came from Simon Cowell. He didn't clap at first. He simply stared, a long, silent stare. The kind that means he's processing something extraordinary. Then slowly he smiled, a real smile. "You know," Simon said into his microphone, "I think even Elvis would stand up for that performance." The crowd roared, the boy's mother cried. Backstage crew members hugged her. And the boy himself covered his mouth, trying to process the moment he never imagined would happen. But Simon wasn't done. He reached over and pressed the golden buzzer. The explosion of confetti fell around the boy as he stood. Frozen in shock, his soul felt weightless. His knees almost gave out. The audience screamed louder. The judges stood. His mother ran onto the stage and held him tightly, both shaking with emotion. For a moment, he wasn't in America. He wasn't on a global stage. He wasn't in the middle of one of the biggest shows in the world. He was the boy from Cebu again. The boy who fell in love with Elvis during a brownout. The boy who sang for neighbors, not crowds. The boy who believed dreams were too expensive for families like his. But now the world knew his voice. And for the first time, he realized something powerful. Dreams don't ask about your home, your background, or your money. Dreams only ask one thing. Are you brave enough to try? His journey didn't end with the golden buzzer. It was only the beginning. But no matter how far he goes, no matter how big his name becomes, he will always remember the small neighborhood in Cebu, where it all started, the people who supported him, the mother who believed in him, and the voice of Elvis, the first spark that lit the fire inside him. Sometimes destiny doesn't announce itself. Sometimes it begins with a song and a boy who dared to sing it.